Good morning. Okay. Let us continue. I have taken off my ancient coat. I think we're a little bit beyond that at this point, and also I had to re-dye my gear when I unglamored it because this is just my actual outfit, and I really like it. So. The creation of the ward that surrounds Pandemonium was an astounding feat of magical prowess, a feat accomplished by none other than Eorzea. Both my father and I can bind others in chains, and perhaps the only thing that both my father and I can bind others in chains is perhaps the only thing we have in common. So it's true. I am Eorzea son, bereft of his talent for magics or his brilliant mind, but his son nonetheless. Surely that doesn't come as entirely as a surprise to you. Nay, I had an inkling when you said that you'd practiced the ethereal shackles since childhood. Assuming you haven't been employed here quite that long, it had to indicate some long-held connection with Eorzea. It was Eorzea that taught me how to cast ethereal shackles, but that was it. My further education was overseen by the wards of Eorzea, more specifically my mother, who was the researcher here. You speak of Athena, chief key ward before Eorzea. She's your mother, yes? I've seen the name Athena on my YouTube timeline. I've not watched any of the videos relating to her, but I'm aware she is a character. How astute, I can see now why you were chosen to lead this investigation. You've the right of it. Athena was my mother, and it was she who invited me to join her here. Eorzea had nothing to do with it. I see there's little love lost between you two. What I cannot see is why Eorzea was appointed chief key ward when another was already in place. Was in place. My mother is no longer with us. And Eorzea was all too eager to assume her responsibilities with nary a moment spared to mourn for her. What love do I owe him now when he offered not one drop of compassion then? I see. She's no longer with us, an expression to convey the end of a life. Sounds like it wasn't the consensual end of life that people like here. Well, yeah, I've known only the public face of Eorzea. While he is lauded for his ability to maintain composure in the face of unnerving circumstances, I must admit that he often comes across as cold. Apologies, but can we speak of something else? This topic isn't an easy one for me to discuss. Of course, there are more pressing matters at hand after all, namely, how to deal with Hesperos. We've yet to see the other warders. Judging by what we know, we can surmise Hesperos has confined them somewhere beyond our grasp. And now he is aware of our presence. He will be preparing for our next encounter. We cannot expect to face him on equal footing. Quite the opposite, in fact. Every moment we spend chasing after the creations is another moment Hesperos can contrive another advantage for himself. The wisest course would be to find him first and foremost. He said that he's become one with the creations. Perhaps it means that he is vulnerable to internment? I mean, we were vulnerable to internment. In theory, that should be possible. However, is it enough to merely confine him after all that he has done? I need to know why. I need to know what drove him to forsake everything he's worked for. Was it all so that he could serve his master? To my mind, he's merely put La Habrea's own work at risk in trade for some nebulous power. La Habrea's chief keyword of pandemonium. How would throwing it into disarray win his favor? It doesn't make any sense. I share your curiosity, but we must consider that our enemy has us at a disadvantage in every sense. What do you think? Should we seek to put him in fetters, or would it be too dangerous to allow him quarter? If you fail to confine him, I can always strike him down. Daring as ever, I see. I know not which trials you faced in your past, but you see, to see you so certain is all the convincing I need. Very well, let us try Erithonios' plan. Thank you. I believe I can shed some light in the nature of our foe. When Hesperos spoke with us, I noticed he bore telltale fangs of Vircolakas, a beast which feeds off ether of its prey. Likely that it's a creation of Hesperos merged, the creation Hesperos merged his essence with. And we know all too well that he can change the environment around himself at will. The battle will not be an easy one, but I believe in our victory. Pandemonium, the fourth circle now. Asphodelios, the fourth circle now accessible. He called himself Hemethios and claimed immortality. I know not how he discovered this dark art, but his actions do not bespeak a sound mind. That Hesperos possessed such a lust for power that he would resort to this, clearly I misjudged him. I'd like nothing more than to strike him down myself, but seeing you wipe that arrogant grin off his face will taste just as sweet. Oh! Immediate Q. shit. I thought I was supposed to go in one that I thought it was tank but with an X, so I thought I wasn't supposed to go there. Oh, that was fantastic. Whichever healer saved me like that, they're amazing. I have to give it to somebody else? Oh. Oh, okay, I see. Oh god. Everything is... There we go. Could be worse. I'm taking the minion for sure. I'm leaving before I need any of that. I don't have any spots in my inventory right now. I need to fix that. Now, Themis, we end this here. Fools, I will not be put in chains. Think that I would fall before one such as you. Perhaps I should have treated you as more than a mere nuisance. Despite your victory, you shall never have the knowledge you seek. The secrets of my transformation, the secrets of my deception, they shall return to the star with me. You're wasting your breath, Hesperos. We have the upper hand now. Surely you can see that. Yes, my repertoire is not exhausted yet, however. Although I have failed, my end shall be on my terms. I remain loyal to the very last. Come what may, I die with dignity. How did your ambition lead you so astray, Hesperos? You were better than that. Your star shone more brightly than any other in Pandemonium. You had La Habrea's respect, his trust. What more did you seek? That you would forsake all of that and sully your legacy besides. He became so blinded to his own desires that he lost sight of his duty. In the end, he lost everything, and his plans lie in tatters. I fail to see any dignity in that. Even so, I would have liked to know why you chose this path. Hesperos' infatuation with your father was his undoing. Perhaps he was jealous of the fate that fate had chosen you and not him to be La Habrea's son. So terrible was his jealousy that had his jealousy become that he sought verboten power that La Habrea was unable to ignore. How does a pursuit of respect warp one's heart so? How does infatuation with one person turn to contempt for everyone else? I've never heard of such a thing. It's not as uncommon as you might think. I see. I admit I cannot but find it vexing, but perhaps that signifies naught but my own capacity for bitterness. I do understand what it is to have a beacon to follow in dark times, a person to trust and guide you true, how it is to desperately wish their light would fall upon you again. We have spent enough time assuming the intentions of the departed. There are the living to consider. We must find the other warders and round up the remaining creations forthwith. Of that, at least, we can be certain. I believe I can be of help in that manner. The influence of Hesperos' magic is fading throughout Asphodelios. Now is the perfect opportunity to seize control of the facilities and restore things to their original state. Seize control? Can you really do that? What is this presence? Erchthonios, what lies beyond that threshold? That's the passage which connects Asphodelios to Abyssos. Why? Be on your guard, you two. Now that Asphodelios is free of obstructions, I can more easily sense disturbances on the lower levels. Something stirs in Abyssos. A warding sigil? How? Let's return to the gates for now. I should like to appraise the situation from there. Needless to say, our investigation's far from over. Do I have... Yeah, I need to empty out a whole bunch of my inventory. I'll sort out a bunch of my inventory once I'm... Although we defeated Hesperos, it appears we have but scratched the surface of Pandemonium's troubles. My head is still swimming with questions, but could this mean that Hesperos wasn't actually behind this? It's a stark possibility, yes. The root of this crisis may lie somewhere much deeper than even Abyssos. When we first encountered you, you said the memories of your escape were vague and your senses were muddled. I believe this was more than the result of a panicked mind. You were made to feel this way by a powerful magical influence. It's possible that this same magic could have poisoned Hesperos' heart, twisting his affection for La Habrea into a burning obsession. Then, in his altered state, he was made an offer of power that he could not refuse. Are you suggesting that someone else turned Hesperos into that thing? If so, it stands to reason that they wouldn't stop at him. Indeed, our mysterious mastermind does not lack for subjects for his experiments. For a more potential, hemithio... What? If what you're saying is true, then my colleagues are doomed to share the same fate as Hesperos. Do not lose heart yet, Erechthonios. Hesperos challenged us alone. And that tells me that the presence of his creation was a long and the process of his creation was a long and taxing one. If he was the first Temithios, then the rest of the warders are likely still alive. However, as much as I would like to hasten deeper into Pandemonium, the way forward is sealed off. We must focus our efforts on finding a way through. With the creation still having free run of Asphodelios, that won't be easy. On the contrary, I yet retain control of these circles, and thus can wield interment magic within the halls at will. The creatures will pose no threat to us. Just like that? There's nothing stopping us from returning order to Asphodelios. Just so. I shall require your expertise to keep the peace after the subjects have been returned to their confinement, however. You are Asphodelios' sole remaining warder, after all. Truth be told, I did not expect this investigation to become so involved. Of course, I would like to resolve matters here without resorting to outside help, but... Do you mean to send a report to La Habrea? 'Tis too soon to say. Let us find a way into Abyssos. It would be best to withhold our judgment until we have ascertained the whereabouts of the other warders and identify the identity of the party responsible for their disappearance. Agreed. Even so, if it means saving even a single life within Pandemonium, then I'm not above asking La Habrea for help should it come to that. Recent discoveries certainly paint Hesperos' actions in a new light. The number of unknown elements in this investigation grows, and we must proceed forward with the utmost caution. To that end, Ericthonios and I shall remain here for the time being. Much as I enjoy your company, I do not believe we shall be needing protection so long as we remain in Asphodelios. You should take this time to rest. Surely you're weary, and there may be more battles ahead of us. Themis' burden may grow heavier in your absence, but he's shown that he's more than capable to bear it. Still, I would help wherever so I am able. All we've achieved so far has been thanks to you two, and I mean to repay the debt I owe. I don't know that what use I can be outside of placating the creatures, but I'll find a way. Nonsense, you owe us nothing. It was thanks to your knowledge that the magics which govern this place, that we were able to come this far. Elsewise, we would have likely succumbed to the Hippocampos' assault. Each of us has arrived at this dire path by separate paths, but it is only by combining our respective expertise that we will reach the end of it and see Pandemonium saved. Thank you, then, Themis. Hesperos' words seem to have affected me more than I realize. Together we've come this far, and together we'll reach the end. I've no doubt we will. Even so, let us allow Missing his rest. Besides, do you have someone awaiting a report on your progress yet? Yes, I dare say your story will be much more than they've ever imagined. Welcome back from the past with none the worse for wear, I see. So what did you find? So there's evil afoot in Pandemonium, an already ominous place, I must say. Mythic beasts and missing warders, truly. We are fortunate that you returned to us in one piece. It appears the voice Missing heard from the crystal spoke the truth. As for who left it behind and why, those are yet questions to be answered. Indeed, it could be someone who lived among the ancients, or it could be someone trying to avert a tragedy from the future. Much remains shrouded in mystery. Yet ilm by ilm we shall unravel that mystery with the help of Missing, of course, as by his actions was the fabric of the past reshaped, yet he returns to the same present he left. Which showing me one thing, that his intervention in Pandemonium's crisis is but one of countless building blocks upon history, of history upon which our present has been built. There's no telling what consequences would arise if we stop pursuing this matter now. Whatever plot is unraveling within Pandemonium, we must not let it reach its conclusion. If one of those creatures should escape, what ripples would carry forth into the future? They might wreak havoc upon the world of the ancients, and their despair would leave an indelible mark upon history's pages. That despair would only feed the terrible beasts that arose during the final days. The first final days already had a drastic effect on the eons that followed. If the scars it left were made even deeper, then we risk losing our present entirely. Whatever the cost, our connection with the future of Elpis must be preserved. I know that we've asked much of you already, but can I count on you to continue your work in Pandemonium? Your tireless efforts are much appreciated. If there's aught that we can do to ease your burden, you need only say the word. Speaking of which, might you return the crystal to our keeping? While we cannot accompany you to the past, perhaps something can be gained by researching it further. shines just as splendidly as the day we met? We shall begin work right away, but I cannot promise any meaningful results for some time, and as matters in Alpus seem to be in a similar state, I must ask you to rest. But before that, allow me to make an introduction. As our research moves into a critical stage, I find it only suitable to recruit another assistant. Lean's an expert in armaments throughout history, be they from the far-flung past or made in the most modern forges. Should you find aught of interest in your adventures, please bring it here, and she'll be glad to offer her services. We know that your researchers in numerous fields would love to get their hands on artifacts from bygone eras, and we will give you goods in return that should aid you in your trials ahead. Furthermore, if you ever wish to peruse the records of events you've reported here, MGG has been taking faithful and thorough notes. She's at your complete disposal. I sense that we have embarked upon something monumental, something that will dwarf all else I have accomplished in my many years of research. I can think of no greater honor nor reassurance than to have your capable assistance in this endeavor. If there is anything to be found that will contribute to your success, we shall find it. We shall not rest until we have unlocked the mysteries of this crystal, and you will be the first to know when we do. Also, oh, it's a fashion accessory. Okay. I made a breakthrough. After uncountable days and nights, I finally hearkened to the crystal's whispers, and I must say, Professor Claudian, where are your manners? While I understand all too well your enthusiasm, I must remind you that even the most academically inclined prefer a composed recounting of events. Yes, of course, my apologies. Being consumed by my research for so long, I am afraid that I have quite forgotten how to engage in civilized conversation. In that case, perhaps we should start from the beginning. With a crystal set adrift upon the ethereal tides containing the memories of a party yet unknown, they cried out for deliverance from pandemonium, where ancients kept... Yes, let's recap what happened 40 seconds ago. That's pandemonium presence yet stirs his intentions in a shrouded mystery. That is the issue at hand, is it not? As he returned to us, we worked tirelessly to discern the nature of the crystal. In the process, I detected an anomalous etheric signature, which I believe arose from the memories stored within. Analysis of this pattern suggested a feeling of loss or yearning, specifically the yearning to be made whole. And indeed, ambient readings have revealed a faint but identical signature. This can only mean that another such crystal exists in our time. So, my friend, I must depart to search for it forthwith. By tracing the matching etheric signature to its source, I believe we'll find it'll be a simple matter to find our crystal's twin. Will this expedition be carried out by only us, or will Missing grace with this protection? I'm afraid he has more pressing matters to attend to, my dear Rusinod, namely, to seek out secrets which lie nestled within Pandemonium, where this all began. From all that we have heard, it appears that time traversal from the Crystal Tower is not fluid. That is to say, one can but travel to predetermined intervals. It would be prudent to check in on occasion in case there are any unanticipated changes. As for you, my loyal assistants, I would ask that you remain here and continue cataloging the ancient creations. You can't mean... Do you intend to search for the crystal on your own? Why, yes, I would. That would be the most efficient use of resources, would it not? In fact, I've already commissioned a ship and a pilot for that very purpose. I trust you to take good care of the laboratory in my absence. I apologize for that somewhat abrupt departure. When progress is in sight, Professor Claudian tends to become blind to all else. Indeed, he has been worse than usual. While I cannot fault him for his excitement, I do wish he would spare a thought for those around him. For reasons unknown, the crystal seems loath to be overheard. Much as it spoke only to you last time, none but the professor have been able to capture this ethereal yearning, which has served only to convince him that he can solve the puzzle on his own. Surely, after all, some time alone he'll come to remember how valuable we are, and the search for his crystal seems to be a simple enough matter. Let him have his adventure, and upon his return, I'm certain he'll be back to his usual self. As for you, it may be best to return to Pandemonium, as Professor Claudian suggested. Speaking of which, I have a request of my own to make. Traveling to Pandemonium requires you to pass through Elpis, correct? There's something I would have you investigate in my stead. While those creatures confined within Pandemonium are considered to be failures, I doubt that's their whole story. Barring exceptional cases, they must have been under observation in Elpis before being consigned to their shackles, and if we know anything about the Ancients, it's that they would have kept thorough records of the results. Brilliant. Delving into these records may shed light on the creatures missing as yet to encounter, if your theory proves correct, that is. While there are no guarantees, it certainly beats the current strategy of rushing forward blindly with only his strength to carry the day. For your own sake as well as others, please unearth what information you can. I'm curious what any of this looks... if any of this looks cool. Is there nothing offending? Okay. Ooh. Eh. Hey, Themis, what's up? I did not expect to meet you here, of all places. You seek records of Pandemonium's creations. Master Themis has just finished perusing the very same. I should not be surprised if we both arrive at the same conclusion. Luckily, I have saved you the trouble and gleaned what information I could. Ah, so you know each other. I was just dreading to have to once again scour the archives, but perhaps instead I'll rest for a spell. If there's nothing else, I shall take my leave. As should we, for I have undone the warding sigil blocking the entrance to Abyssos. I came here merely to chase an idle suspicion while awaiting your return. Fortunately, while Pandemonium's protective wards continue to be assailed by our unknown foe, there have been no fluctuations so great as to make me doubt Ericthonios' capacity to watch over Asphodelios while I'm away. He works diligently to master interment that he might deliver the creations back to their cages by his own hand. I thought it best to give him time to hone his craft. And since fate has brought us both here, I would ask that you accompany me while I attend to another matter, more idle suspicions than I would like to chase down. Rest assured, it shall not take long. I simply have a few questions to ask an acquaintance of mine. Come, he's agreed to meet us near the naos to Pandemonium. As I poured over our expedition to Pandemonium, I could not help but be mystified by how strongly the warders we encountered felt for La Habrea, whether it be for good or for ill. Hesperos and Ericthonios were two sides of the same coin. The former looked to his mentor with absolute devotion, while the latter looks to his father with bald hatred. I would not expect a familiar such as you to understand this, but such extreme emotions toward a single individual are quite rare indeed. Naturally, I feel gratitude towards my mother and father, yet we are all equals in the larger picture of the star. This view is not unique to myself. It's more or less accepted as the way of things. By contrast, the researchers of Pandemonium seem to view La Habrea with a feeling that approaches obsession. Whether driven by love or hate, they have all been drawn to him. There were many other aspects of the facility's particulars that I found troubling besides. I decided the best course of action would be to go straight to the source and pose my questions to a member of the wards of La Habrea. My apologies to have kept you waiting, Master Themis. I understand you are conducting an investigation of Pandemonium and wish to know its origins. Indeed. In particular, I wish to know why exactly Pandemonium was built directly under Elpis. The facility is overseen by the wards of La Habrea, after all. Why keep it so close to Elpis, whose governing body has no say in its day-to-day operations? At first, I thought it to be simply a matter of convenience. Those creations which were deemed failures by the researchers of Elpis could easily be ushered into their new homes. Imagine my surprise when a trip to the archives revealed that many of the creations were sent from organizations beyond Elpis, including from the wards of La Habrea themselves. Given this, albeit limited information, I cannot help but feel that the Academia Anadir would have been a more fitting locale. What does Elpis have that cannot be found here? There. These are fitting questions, and ones we've asked ourselves many times in recent years. Alas, the nature of Pandemonium's construction does not lend itself to relocation. When first it was built, circumstances weren't as they are now. As you surmised, the majority of the creations kept within Pandemonium were sent from Elpis. Yet as the years passed, interests changed. Failures in creations deemed too flawed to even submit to Elpis paradoxically drew the attention of Pandemonium's researchers. That's quite the change, and in fact, it almost runs counter to the facility's original purpose. Who is it that decides which creations will be subject to research? Master La Habrea. Such authority is reserved for the Chief Keyword, and he has taken it upon himself to step into that role. So if Pandemonium's resources were being misused, it would be under La Habrea's authority, correct? I know not what you're suggesting, but the keywords also hold some sway within the facility. Not even Master La Habrea would be free from their scrutiny. They are duty-bound to report any irregularities as soon as possible, although I admit of late their communication has been somewhat sporadic. We but recently received a report from one of the keywards stating that all is well within Pandemonium's halls. Really? And you're certain that a keyword sent it? Yes, of course, our communications suffered a temporary obstruction, but I can assure you, the words did their due diligence in confirming the identity of the sender. Thank you. This information will be helpful to my investigation. That will be all for my prying. I shall take my leave. While you are yet permitted to conduct your investigation freely, I must remind you that the warder's work is delicate, and it would be remiss to disturb them for longer than is necessary. All is well. A blatant lie, and that we can both attest. One of the remaining keywords is most certainly in league with the party behind this. Let us hurry. I know not why our adversary sent that report, but 'tis plain that we must return to Pandemonium with haste. I cannot guess as to why the false report has arisen now, but it certainly bodes ill, as is the knowledge that our mysterious mastermind has at least one more keyword to puppet. Regardless, they have tipped their hand, and it would be remiss to leave Ericthonius at the mercy of their machinations. Let us hope that no harm has befallen him. Not quite. I've traced the sigils countless times, yet I still lack the strength to maintain the spell. And now time works against me. I can no longer be victim of my own ineptitude. Who goes there? There is something to be admired in such single-minded effort, even if your methods leave much to be desired. You've allowed this familiar to catch you unawares. Have you set your sights so high as to forget you walk upon the earth? I know this creature, familiar of the Phoenix, but that monster is locked away. That it is, in spite of the trouble I went into freeing it, might I add. Begrudge me for addressing you in this ill-fitting form if you must, but with control of Asphodelios wrested from my grasp, 'tis simply the best I can offer you. Hide if you will, but mark my words, I will find you and make you pay for the chaos you've sown. Now, there's no need for such hostility. A calm heart stays the course, the wisdom of La Habrea, your father. How would you know what wisdom he speaks? I've heard those words many times, scolding of a tutor whose students struggle to grasp those rudimentary lessons, seething with disgust. No. I've not told that to anyone, not even keyword Hesperos. That can only mean one thing. That you still insist on mocking me. Stop this farce, La Habrea. At last you move to keep up. Pity you remain behind, nevertheless. What? As ever you are, always fail to learn, fail to understand, fail to act. And though fate deigned to offer you an escape, you remain here. You are bereft of magical prowess and common sense both. We need not despair. Dull though you may be, you are yet indispensable to Pandemonium's great experiment. Uh, there's the affection I remember. Tell me, did I ever once measure up to your expectations? You shall. Take pride in that, and rejoice to see your wish fulfilled. What wish? Come, and all shall be revealed. All this rage, this hatred, is but a consequence of ignorance. Our desires align more than you know. What are you? Oh, what are you? As in he's doing something, but... Uninvited guests join our reunion. It seems fortune no longer favors you. Do you think I have any interest in listening to your prattle, let alone bowing to your will? I'm no longer a child, and my faith lies with those who have earned it. So these are the heroes who brought Hesperos low, even as power divine flowed through his veins. 'Tis plain there are worthier subjects to contend with. Just what was that familiar after? Thank you. If you'd shown up even a moment later, I shudder to think what would have become of me. There's something I must tell you. I know who's behind this. There's but one person who can hold thrall over familiar creation and keyboard alike. Ericthonius certainly knows the identity of Pandemonium's assailant. And so there can be only one conclusion. La Habrea was the driving force behind this chaos from the start. There's logic to that. There are few with the wherewithal to even consider experimentation on such a scale, let alone the capacity to create demigods from man and beast, with the rest of us none the wiser. Considering the magnitude of his work with the Convocation and the words, his relatively minor role as chief keyword comes under little scrutiny, even as it provides him the authority to wield dangerous magics. It may serve as a veil and mantle both. Still, I find that notion hard to accept. The misdeeds perpetrated here could not have been done by the La Habrea I know. You've met him, yes? Do you think he's capable of this? Saying I've met him is... I met a version of him. Still too early to say for certain. Truly is a puzzle with many missing pieces. Still, I see you do not deny the outright possibility that La Habrea is a man with few scruples. That alone should be enough, but let me assure you, La Habrea holds nothing so dear as his own ambition. While he may not be one to let his emotions stand in the way of his mission, I cannot believe that there are no depths to which he would not stoop. Although we met briefly, the impression he left upon me stands in stark contrast to your evaluation. Though his methods are ever unorthodox, they seem guided by a firm understanding of what is just. There's one way to find out for certain. We delve deeper into Pandemonium and pull back the curtain on this mystery ourselves. A wise course. I would not deny the truth if I saw it with my own eyes, even if it was discomforting to behold. Then we must move forward with no excessive caution. La Habrea, or whomever is behind this, has likely spread their tentacles into every corner of Pandemonium. We can safely assume that other keywords won't greet us with open arms. Agreed. Let's make our way through Abyssos, one careful step at a time. I shall stay by Ericthonios' side in case our enemies think to target him again. Could I trouble you to take the vanguard? Thank you. As precaution, I shall safeguard you with a simple spell. It will ensure that even should we become separated, my phantom warriors will still come to your aid. If it does come to battle, the keyword's magic will put us at a disadvantage once again. Luckily, we have you to even the scales somewhat. I trust you shall be liberal with your weight. Abyssos, the fifth circle. What is La Habrea planning, and what role do I play in his schemes? Judging from the demeanor of that familiar, there's little doubt that our enemy has a tight grip on Pandemonium and its denizens. We will be vulnerable. So, two options. Well, first off, I think I've been partially spoiled by seeing a thumbnail on YouTube. So I think I have a hunch as to who the actual mastermind is. But I got two thoughts. One thought is that La Habrea is involved, but it's not the La Habrea we know. Because La Habrea is just a title. So theoretically, he could lose his title because of this whole shenanigan, and a new La Habrea gets appointed, which becomes the La Habrea that we know in the future. The other option is that, no, La Habrea is not involved at all. It's just a red herring. Both, I think, are plausible. Let me sort my inventory. I got so many weapon coffers I don't need. Well, this person pets Proto Carbuncle? Is that it's Proto Carbuncle? Okay. Do not pet him. You cannot tell me who I can and cannot pet. Oh, it looks like we're... Okay. I see. Oh, this one's Topaz. Alright, I'm starting to get how this works. Done a phase change. Up. You're down for the count. Turn them into shoes like we did the other carbuncle. This person in chat. What are we doing now? Oh, okay. Oh, fuck. Oh, no! Oh, no, 4. Well. This is where research is conducted on creations imbued with poisons and venoms. Ericthonius and I were conveyed not far from here. It seems our foe is finding it more difficult to surprise us. Fortunately for you, since they appear particularly keen to see you, since they seem particularly keen to see you dispatched as quickly as possible. Even alone, you are forced to be reckoned with. Part of me is glad you emerged victorious, that I might observe you further. Were the circumstances different, I might ask you, for you to keep my son alive. I might thank you for keeping my son alive this long, but I believe we can forego introductions unless I have misread you. Am I supposed to know who you are? Understand that my son's rhetoric is rarely compelling, but come now, I can be none other than La Habrea of the Convocation of 14. I know that I'm supposed to know who he is, but I'm just like, oh man, red mask, I know this guy. But no, this man has beard. Granted, La Habrea in the future is puppeting another's body, but still. I still think that it's possible it's not the same La Habrea that we're aware of. If you truly are who you claim to be, then answer this question. That can wait. What is this? This is curious. The trap I wove at your feet reacts to ether, but you remain unaffected. Such thin ether, and in an unfamiliar composition besides. It is of no matter, I suppose. A more direct approach will beget the same results. I would advise you to think carefully before deciding your next action. Strike me down here, and Ericthonius' wish shall remain unfulfilled. Never again shall he meet Athena. Mother? You would dare hide behind her name? Listen well, Ericthonius. We are of the same mind concerning your mother. You have your allies for protection, so what harm is there in hearing me out? Ericthonius, wait. There's a question I must needs ask first. If you truly are La Habrea, why speak such blatant lies? Bitter in defeat, are we? Say my name. He's a Elidibus, right? A simple request. Themis, was it? A trifle soon forgotten, as are you. I have my answer. The La Habrea I knew took pride in the convocation and would never suffer its denigration. He would call him Elidibus. You sully his station with this farce. Themis, what are you saying? The La Habrea and I hardly saw eye to eye, but I know his voice when I hear it. Indeed, he makes a passing fine imitation in appearance and in manner. However, the real La Habrea would never call me by the name Themis. What trouble have you gotten yourself into, Elidibus? Imposter, you have no right to claim that form or that mask. What? Who? 'Twas a mask that sickened me to wear. The Mask of La Habrea, a man who values his position above all, who would murder his own wife in pursuit of duty. Yet you would assume my name and wield my powers that are mine by right. Any worth you may have hinges upon what you so despise. Such trite provocations. I would not be goaded into finishing this ere my work is done. Erithonios, listen well. I am Hephaestos. Hephaestos? Hephaestos? Like Hephaestus? And it's I whom you should call father. What in the name of creation? We would do well not to stand idle while our enemy is about. I believe an explanation is in order. Elidibus, let us return to safety so you may provide it. That sounds more like the La Habrea I know. Before we depart, however, I must offer you an apology. As La Habrea said, I am Elidibus, one of the convocation, and emissary of their will. For reasons which do not involve you, it was necessary to hide my identity while investigating this place. Still, that hardly excuses my deception. How are you hiding your identity if you're wearing white robes that only Elidibus are allowed to wear? Like, I knew you were Elidibus. I forgot that you were voiced at the end of Endwalker and had the same voice as Elidibus. But even then, I'm like, you're wearing white robes, which means you either were in the convocation or you're Elidibus. And you're very small, and Elidibus was very small. Was not that hard to, like, figure out. I had a feeling. Your perceptiveness does not surprise me. When the time comes, I shall make my explanation it shall make my explanation all the easier to understand. In any case, we have pressing matters to attend to. Let's do as La Habrea suggested and return to the gate so we can speak there. Please help. Save him. I see Elidibus has chosen to keep odd company. Such vexing composition of ether you possess. I still don't understand. As you're well aware by now, I'm known as Elidibus. After my dear friend Dazim and I detected irregularities in Pandemonium, we decided it the best course of action would be to hide my station as I conducted my investigation. I'm sure La Habrea as well is eager to find out why I hid who I was, so I shall save that story for later. First, I would like to speak to you, my friend. Why did you not change your robes then? If you're doing this undercover, change it to some black dang robes. Although neither Azim nor I have ever met you in the flesh, you came with his highest recommendation. That alone was enough for me to accept you as an ally without question. There are some that somewhere in the world, a guiding star, so similar to himself, was out there, amused Azim to no end. There was not a shade of doubt in his heart that you would be a formidable ally. Furthermore, I've heard stories that Mistress Vana, who held the position of Azim previously, journeyed with a familiar much like yourself. That made the decision to trust you all the easier. She too now dons the white robes of an advisor. If she placed her absolute faith in you, I knew that I would be in capable hands. Aware though I was of the path you walked, I had no interest in exposing you. I merely wanted to meet you, travel by your side for a while. I may know but a small portion of your whole story, but that's enough for me to believe that you would never lead me astray. I wanted to tell you that. So Azim is aware that we exist. In my own grasp of what just occurred is somewhat tenuous. Doubtless La Habrea can elucidate matters for us. I don't know how long it's been since we last spoke, La Habrea, and truth be told, I'd hope we never would again. But I see now that I was a fool to think that I could ever escape your meddling. Just what is that thing that called himself La Habrea, and why is he the spitting image of your younger self? I find it hard to believe you've only just now found out that such a being was wreaking havoc in Pandemonium. Did you think matters would simply sort themselves out? I suppose you deserve at least a cursory explanation. I was well aware of the anomalies occurring within Pandemonium, including the fact that Azim and Elidibus had taken it upon themselves to investigate. I saw no reason to insert myself into the situation. For a time, that was. Imagine my surprise when, instead of a formal report from you and yours, I received communication from one of the key wards stating that research and operations were proceeding as usual. While Hephaestus' deception was almost childish in its simplicity, it became plain to me that your grasp on the situation was slipping. So you knew of its existence from the beginning. I can hardly imagine that you would suffer another masquerade as one of the convocation, not without good reason at least. As you well know, the name of La Habrea is but a marker of my station. 'Tis not the name I was born with. Hephaestus has claimed that for himself. I cannot fault him for it, as he is my other half in a manner of speaking. He knows all that I know, my equal in every way, yet within his heart is naught but greed, envy, and desire, all the emotions that we are loath to acknowledge within ourselves. If what you say is true, what purpose would such a being serve? He's the product of experimentation gone awry, a reminder of the days when I was young and reckless. I thought him sealed away for good, but it seems that he has a way of unearthing the shame we bury. When he spoke of my mother, he looked at you with venom in his eyes, blamed you for her death. Tell me, was he right to do so? His words were but the ramblings of a tortured mind. The hatred and despair he endured has warped his view of the world irreparably. And now that he is awakened, he must be put to rest. If he succeeds in breaching Pandemonium's protective wards, he shall invite disaster onto our star. As Chief Key Ward of Pandemonium, it's my duty to decide the proper course of action. As such, I declare that all research shall summarily be abandoned and the facility destroyed. You would leave the other warders to their doom. 'Tis a choice befitting of La Habrea. Do you disagree? You speak of duty, and ours is to guide our star and its inhabitants upon the correct course. It's no surprise that you would choose the annihilation of Pandemonium, of its existence poses even the remotest of risk to our people. Yet, as you can see by Arithonios' response, the decision is somewhat more nuanced than that. Azim and I grappled with this conundrum for some time, in fact. That's precisely why I chose to involve myself directly. It was the only way I could truly determine the best solution. And you need not trouble yourself with that further. The Chief Keyword must prevent the worst from occurring no matter the cost. Your feelings, Elidibus, are of no consequence. Have you taken even a moment to consider another path? No. You spared nary a thought for aught but yourself and your duty. You have no idea the trials we've endured, the foes that Missing stood against. Being of such ether I've never seen. What are you? He is the guiding star that shall lead us safely through this. Thanks to his stout arm and steadfast courage, we have subdued the mythic creations and returned them to their cells. Speaking of which, I would hear your opinion. As outsiders, we are in a unique position to look upon circumstances with our vision unclouded by attachment. It's too soon to give up on saving others. Agreed. We still know next to nothing about Hephaestus, and I doubt that La Habrea has been forthcoming with the truth. But we've managed to regain control of Asphodelios. He must be made to see that there's merit in continuing on this path. I have it. Speak in your official capacity as Elidibus, the emissary. Judge which approach is more sound, and even La Habrea will be compelled to listen. As Elidibus, I am duty-bound to assess the matter from a position of impartiality. My opinion as Themis can carry no weight. You understand what that means, yes? I do. Even so, you've walked with us all this time, seen what we've seen. Based on that alone, I trust that you'll find the best way forward. Very well. In my capacity as emissary, I shall state my judgment. At present, there are merits both in destroying Pandemonium outright and in taking time to rescue its researchers, and neither is yet an impossible task. Therefore, I judge that the most measured choice would be to continue upon our present course. We delve into Abyssos, interring any mythic creations we encounter along the way. You have yet to witness Missing's Might and Ericthonios' resolve. I would ask that you see our capabilities firsthand, and only then decide if our endeavor is futile. If such is the will of the emissary, then I shall obey. However, if indeed I find your strength to be lacking, I trust there'll be no objections to the immediate destruction of Pandemonium. You needn't worry about that. We won't fail. You are bolder than I remember. And you're even more tedious than I remember. Come find me when you're finished. Ericthonios is understandably frustrated, but if we are to conquer Abyssos, we must go forth with clear heads. Pray lend an ear to his troubles, that their weight might be lightened. Despite recent developments, our plan remains unchanged. Pray call me Themis for the time being. It shall put us all in the correct mindset, and if in fact, I may be coming to prefer that name. You've done all you can with words, only your actions can convince me now. You have my gratitude. Ill fit as I am to show it at the moment. Without your words to sway him, La Habrea would have carried out his plan without a second thought. When we first realized the creations had slipped their bonds, the other keywords did all in their power to restore order. Even though they could have chosen to escape, they remained to aid their allies. I'm certain not a soul among them will wish to see the facility erased from our world, and they don't deserve to be abandoned simply for carrying out their duty. And besides, Hephaestus' secrets has secrets yet untold, secrets that would be buried if Pandemonium were to be reduced to rubble. I mean to uncover the truth behind his words, the truth of my mother. While La Habrea is quick to dismiss his claims, I failed to see what Hephaestus would gain by fabricating such a story. All I was told of my mother's death was that she perished in an accident. No one would say more. It was almost as if they feared saying more, in fact. If it was not La Habrea that dealt the fatal blow, we've seen with our own eyes how quickly he can condemn others to die. I only wish to know at last what befell her. What do you think? Does the La Habrea you know have any regard for the lives of others? Or will he carry out his duty with another's blood on his hands? I have no idea what he might be like in this age. This age? Just how long has it been since you last met? Regardless, I'd like to try and view him as he is now. Another opinion would be much appreciated. But 'tis plain there is much to consider. Thank you. It's been easy for me to get carried away by emotion where he's concerned. We should focus on the task at hand, proving to Lahabre that we are capable of saving Pandemonium and its keepers. The most convincing way to do that would be to regain control of Abyssos. Though I'm loath to admit it, he would know more about these depths than any of us, and seeing as how we require every advantage we can afford, would you speak to him for us? He seems to have a special interest in your capabilities, and may deign to help at your suggestion, if only to see what you can do. Despite recent developments, our plan remains unchanged. Pray call. Yeah, you already said that. Ericthonios appears to have deep trust in you, and Elidibus tells me you share some relation to Azem. Your unusual ether does not mark you as a familiar. It's unlike anything I've ever seen, even among the countless concepts I've observed. To think that I would encounter an existence that I could not create by my own hand, Azem never ceases to surprise me. The previous Azem was much the same, and taking the entirety of the star into consideration, she came to hold dear emotions of people that a more logical mind would have discarded. This made her act in her own self-interest more often than not. Just as you and Elidibus have conducted yourselves in this manner, the true danger of Azem's nature is its tendency to infect all those he comes in contact with. Emmett Selk said much the same. Trust that I shall do naught that would violate my duty. And yet you so frivolously invoked your authority as emissary to justify— I didn't mean to click that. I didn't mean to click. To justify making me not destroy Pandemonium. You wish to know more of Abyssos, I take it. Although I no longer have control over many of his functions, I can yet sense what creations lie within. The Chief Keyword's research is far indeed. Well then, what do we have to look forward to? I sense no creations of note. Perhaps they have been made into fodder for experimentation, or perhaps they have been transferred to the deeper circles. Yet Hephaestos would never allow you to save passage. He has left a trial for you to overcome. I speak of Hegemon, keyword of Abyssos. Although her presence is strained with the marks of corruption, it is stained with the marks of corruption. It's unmistakable. While I knew her as a woman gifted in magic and blessed with a highly logical mind, while I can sense those qualities within her still, there is something else at work. If I had to hazard a guess, I would say that it's because she's already been twisted into a Mythios, doubtless against her will. Missing Themis, we must rescue her from that cruel fate, and if we cannot, we can at least steal her away until we find a means to undo the damage. Your allies make you bold, Ericthonios. I very much look forward to seeing how far they carry you. Abyssos, the 6th circle, now accessible. Now we prove our strength. Only then can we free the other warders and unveil the truths hidden within Pandemonium's shadows. Let us not change the strategy that has served us well thus far. Bring Hegemon to heel, and Ericthonios shall inter her when the time is right. Hegemon was a woman of reason and logic. She would never be swayed by Hephaestos' wretched schemes. I hope she was not made to suffer overmuch. What are these spikes for? I love how they're just bats down here. Nice. Nope. This one? Middle one's a 1? No. Damn. Was it Wonder Square? Yes. I said literal seconds ago. Friday. Okay. Between Friday and Tuesday. Hmm. Hmm. Can I buy a... Can I hire a retainer while I'm... Wait. What was it? What... Oh. No, then I can't hire a retainer while I'm here. Let me sell some nonsense. Oh. Eh. Very pretty gun. These things are not tradable, right? Market prohibited, yeah. Oh, I should do portraits. I'm not editing a portrait. Just have the menu open. Oh, hang on. Oh, this isn't Gunbreaker. Ah, shit. Oh, well. I just realized my outfit. I'm loaded onto my summoner outfit because I was on my other machine. Ah. A parasite? Oh. Let's scoot away from our array and then just assume. Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay, cool. We're fine. gonna scoot. They go like this. Oh no! Oh, okay. They were gonna scoot. They swapped places. Oh, I fucked up. There we go. I love just how Themis looks when he appears out of nowhere. As to be expected, Ericthonios appears quite pleased with their victory. I could sense from the hegemon, from here the hegemon had been contained. The effect of Hephaestos' tinkering is even more dire than I anticipated. We've won, the keyword's sealed away, and alive this time. La Habrea can't deny us now. Our plan was a success, although I hardly need to tell you that. Hegemon has been sealed away, and now you have no choice but to admit the merit of our methods. You have the right of it. I'm not so petty as to deny the achievements of those I've squabbled with, no matter how strongly we disagree. Moreover, this being, Ether is thin as retreating mist, unable to wield creation magics, yet powerful enough to subdue a Prometheus, has made this ordeal far more interesting. Then we have leave to continue? As for that, there is one among you whose very presence puts others at risk. It will be best to proceed without him, for failure would have consequences that reach far beyond pandemonium. And of whom do you speak? A warder who cannot even conduct his duty without aid. A warder who cannot even conduct his duty without aid. In this place, hope alone is not enough to overcome what awaits you. A single misstep will send all to their doom. So long as we each do our part and look to our allies by our side, even a neophyte can uprise his companions. That's something that Missing and Themis have taught me. While I do not wish to express any bias, I'm inclined to agree. If my investigation has made anything clear, it's that we are together greater than the sum of our parts. And hope has brought us this far. It drives us to seek the right path and to act before that path lies closed to us. Then tell me, what is it you hope for? To see Hephaestus is in chains. That's the surest way to prevent further sacrifices. I am aware that destroying Pandemonium would rid us of him, but the cost is far too great. And I admit, I wish to know how he means to resurrect Athena. And there we have it. You must leave this place at once and do not think to set foot in Pandemonium again. You are capable, that much is plain, yet Hephaestus cannot be suffered to live, and I shall not allow his talk of resurrection to poison mine or anyone else's mind. Life flows in a cycle, this is known. All souls return to the underworld, and Athena's is no exception. She has likely found a new vessel and a new journey to embark upon. You cannot be ignorant to the folly that of Hephaestus' words. Even were he to breathe life into a body, the soul contained within would not be your mother's. What if our knowledge is imperfect? What if Hephaestus has discovered something that no one else has? He knows all that you do, understands the bitter reality of the world. He wouldn't pursue the impossible. Think, Erichthonios. I've already explained that he's merely a twisted reflection. Is it worth bringing back your mother if it means others are used and discarded as tools? Is it worth it to see her once more? Now you measure the worth of your colleagues' lives? What was that foolish braying about saving them? Merely a performance to hide your childish devotion to your mother? Please, such barbs will get us nowhere. We should first discuss... You would call me fool? You who murdered your wife in service to your ambition for the sake of the star, no doubt. I can hear it again. The voice inside my head. I know who to follow. Hephaestus, father. Mother, I love you so, and this voice, it will guide me to you. No, listen not, Erichthonios. Apologies, you taught me that a calm heart stays the course, but I could never even grasp the rudder. This was Hephaestus' work, there can be no doubt. It seems he's learned from his previous failure. Hephaestus is cunning despite his warped mind. Whatever took hold of Erichthonios, it made short work of his reason. From the moment he laid eyes upon me, I could sense his hatred and rage simmering below the surface. 'Twas but a matter of time till it spilled forth, and that was when he fell into the spell's embrace. A magic woven with such skill that Erichthonios himself failed to notice it until it was too late. If this is the measure of Hephaestus' power, then the other keywords had little chance to resist it. We saw his work during our encounter with Hesperos. Doubtless Hephaestus' magics fed his ambition and envy until there was room for naught else in his heart. And there was something else besides. Did you not feel the presence of another? As I thought, someone was trying to warn Erichthonios, but whom? Could it have been one of the keywords? Alas, their warning arrived too late. I have already provoked Erichthonios past the point of no return. I bear the burden for this failure. In my stubbornness, I could but scorn the boy, and Hephaestus knew that. Now I dread to think of what ordeal that awaits him due to my rashness. There's yet time to save him. We can easily regain control of Abyssos, giving us a firm foothold from which to brave Pandemonium's lowest level. The enemy is within reach. Just as with Hesperos, Erichthonios is in danger of being consumed by Hephaestos' spell. However, I have faith that he will not easily lose sight of himself. The way forward is clear, La Habrea. Please tell us all you know of what we shall find beyond Abyssos. I can only assume one more keyword lies in wait. The deepest level of Pandemonium is called Tartaros, and your passage shall be challenged not only by a keyword. Hephaestos has laid traps in every corner of its halls. You have no hope of surviving past the threshold. That, I expect, is where Missing shall shine. His dissolute ether shall allow him to slip through the traps unimpeded. We saw it when Hephaestos had no effect, and doubtless even he has yet to devise a countermeasure. The time is of the essence. Hephaestos is already well aware that you can match a keyword in battle. He will not stand idly by while you stroll past the defenses at your leisure. Agreed. However, clarity will be indispensable to our success. I am afraid I must insist upon it ere we depart. We have yet to discern what end Hephaestos would use Erichthonios. If you know, I would ask that you enlighten us. And then there is the matter of Athena. Why do you so fiercely rebuke Erichthonios' feelings for his mother? While I understand that the very thought of resurrecting the dead is an anathema, you act as if grief over her passing should be equally so. How are we to grapple with what plagues our friend and drives our foe if you refuse to acknowledge it? I do acknowledge it. I wish only to spare those that feel it greater pain. So instead of being honest, you bicker like a child? How dare you? No, you're right. The blame for Erichthonios' fate rests squarely on my shoulders. Very well. I shall lay bare the truth, but only after the foe before us has been laid low. The remaining keyword is Agadistis. She has served in Pandemonium since its inception, and her affinity for magic is peerless even among the keywords. Hephaestos knows that losing her would mean the end of his experiments. He has hidden her in a space unreachable by conventional means. But your presence makes a mockery of such barriers. The scarcity of your ether means it will be trivial to send you directly into Agadistis. We shall approach as closely as caution will allow. We know where the battle will commence, and so I do not anticipate difficulty in detecting your presence. From afar, I shall do my best to provide you with ground on which to fight and phantom allies to aid you. As for the internment, I have yet to think of a foolproof method. Internment should not be necessary. From here I can sense Agadistis' essence, but it is scarcely recognizable. Hephaestus is more than ambitious with her than he was with Hegemon. She has not been transfigured much as that... she has been transfigured such that barely a scantling of herself remains. We can but take comfort in what mercy the underworld will be to her. Abyssos' 7th circle now accessible. Alright, I gotta get to work. That's three. That's 3 of the raids done. That's good. So, I will catch you guys later. Is anybody live? We are going to raid the Digibunny. Thank you guys for hanging out. Until next time, I shall be seeing y'all later. Thank you so much.